Welcome to Talks from the Essex Hotel with your hosts, Sarita Patel and Latham Woodward. The views expressed on this show are those of our guests and are not necessarily in line with our opinions, but can be. Please enjoy this program and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Welcome back to another episode of Talks from the Essex Hotel. I'm Latham Woodward with my co-host and sometimes host on our own, Sarita Patel. Sarita, welcome back to the show.
Hello, Latham.
We are back, just Sarita and I this week, no guests, and we are going to be covering a bunch of topics that are pretty interesting to both of us. But I want to lead off with something I saw on YouTube yesterday, and that was this English couple. And they are Those Happy Days, I think is what their title is. And they sold their house in the UK and they bought a van and they're doing van life in the United States. And they're cute. They're a little hippy dippy, but they're discovering the United States. A lot of English couples do this and they're all over YouTube. But they went to a place in San Diego called Swami Beach. And I had never heard of this before. I mean, I think I've heard of it when I was in San Diego, but I never went there. And I guess it is the property of Swami Paramahansa Yogananda, the author of
Biography of a Yogi.
Yes, or Autobiography.
Autobiography of a Yogi, the very, very famous book that was given out to all of the attendees of Steve Jobs at Steve Jobs' funeral memorial.
And was it the thing that Steve Jobs had gravitated toward at the end of his life or throughout his life?
From everything I understand, and we never really know what the sequence is, but everything that's been published says that when Steve went to India and he was exposed to Swami, it changed his whole entire everything. And so it has been with him his entire life. And I think the way the story goes is that he wanted everyone to kind of get a kickstart on what really matters in life, which makes sense. I mean, when you die, you can't go back. You can't go backwards and tell everybody you wished you could have done things differently.
Right. Well, anyway, these two go there, and it looks really nice. I mean, it looks great. I guess he was given the property in 1937 by one of his followers. The guy in the couple, he was saying that he read this book twice. It really influenced him in England. These guys are like straight off the turnip truck. Everything they do in America is amazing. I mean, wow, this donut's amazing. This, this juniper is crazy, or this juniper park is amazing, or they go to Joshua Tree and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. That kind of thing. So they're just like, they're all busy with all this stuff. But it looked good. But this led us into the conversation earlier about Krishnamurti.
Krishnamurti.
Right.
Yep.
You've got a much better accent than I do.
KM. People call him KM.
KM. And why don't you tell a story?
Well, in a nutshell.
About the purchase of the property, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So there's a place called the Krishnamurti Center, which is in Ojai, California. Beautiful.
Yes, God's resting place. It is the scene, the movie, not Bali High, but the movie. What is it? Oh my goodness, Sarita!
I know I did it again.
Airplane mode, please. It was in the old movie that's black and white, and then they go through the tunnel, and then they come to Shangri-La.
Okay.
That movie. That's filmed in Ojai. Also, for those of you in the listening audience who don't know about Ojai, it's a bunch of rich hippies living everybody's best life for you, so you don't have to. That's Ojai.
When people listen to this, I mean, I know Latham now, and so when he says this, it can sound so cynical.
It's not. It's
but
just
it's
real.
Not. It's really real. And there are so many towns like Ojai that most people don't even know exist.
Oh, no. My sister went to school there. Very prestigious private school. So I'm not even going to name the name, but it's just, as my cousin says, who lives down in San Diego, he goes, oh, yeah. That place is really full of itself. And I was like, yeah, it is. But it's kind of cool. It's a nice place to go for a weekend.
It's gorgeous. I mean,
it's gorgeous.
So just like when you said about the English couple coming here and everything is wonderful, That's because everything is wonderful here. Sometimes I wonder how anyone has any time or even bandwidth to complain about anything here.
Oh, no. Right.
Right? I mean, because you just look around the other way and there's always going to be something natural that just reminds you of what we're doing here.
You know what I saw yesterday?
What?
I saw a humpback whale in the bay spouting 3 times. And then I saw some seals and I saw some other. I was like, just looking around going, yeah, this is pretty cool.
Well, I was wondering if you were ever going to come back here because now you have that view of the water. So it just always, it just changes everything.
It doesn't get old. I got to be
never
honest
gets
with you.
old.
This is my day job, folks. And it's really interesting. And just the view is beautiful. It's just the San Francisco Bay and every condition. It's great. I'm on the water a lot, go out and photograph racing, sailboat racing stuff. So it's really clicked a lot of boxes for me.
It's super cool. So going back to
Yeah.
Krishnamurti, in a nutshell, Krishnamurti and his brother were identified as young people to be kind of taken and shepherded into the spiritual community that was at the time being led by, one of the leaders was Helena Blavatsky from the Theosophical Society. So they take these 2 boys, from a very poor town in India and groom them to be spiritual leaders. Krishnamurti, what they say things like when he was little, he was a little awkward. He was kind of aloof. You wonder how could they have found this kid like this? And I always remind people, you can kind of groom anybody.
I would agree with that.
Especially if they're poor.
Yeah.
You give the parents a little money. Okay, and I know I'm sounding terrible, but this is the truth of what happens.
It's environment, right?
Yeah.
That's why you can say if you give any child every advantage on earth and you shepherd them correctly, you're going to get a pretty good human being, right? Or maybe a devious human being, depending on what the shepherding is.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if you get them that really, really young, and that's why, child abuse and sexual abuse and all these topics are really coming to the forefront right now, because they go for the young kids, because that's when your need for attachment is at its highest, naturally. And that love attachment is bonded right there. So if you're going to be a person who's going to end up using these kids for, something that's not maybe moral or humane, bingo,
Okay, so they pick up the
Murthy
kids,
boys.
Murthy boys, and they take them
Everywhere, all over the world.
Where was their base?
England.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I think everyone should really look up the story of Krishnamurti. All of his audio tapes were preserved when he was speaking. And so the really wonderful thing about the times that we're in right now, and then I'm going to go back to Krishnamurti if you're just patient with me, and I know I'm not linear, and I'm sure there's a diagnosis somewhere about the way my thought pattern goes. But Krishnamurti got to the top. Like the Theosophical Society was taking everywhere. He was the golden boy.
Going to fancy places.
Beautiful clothes, first class, trains, boats, planes. And, he had a breakdown one day, or an awakening, where he realized he was exactly what the Theosophical Society said they don't do, and they basically created a guru that had followers. And when he realized that people were following him and not empowering themselves, he was like, I can't do this anymore.
So, wow. So they taught him too well.
They taught him really well. Yeah.
So he was able to figure out what he was becoming.
Right. And so he's an extreme version of a very normal, well-educated, thoughtful person who just said, there is no edge on a slippery road. So if I am what I say I am, and I continue doing this in order to receive all these comforts and exquisite lavishings of life, then I am not being true to me. And so in his internal thought process, he could not walk that slippery road. So, it was a big deal when he walked away from all of this, because a lot of time and money and energy was put into him, especially from the donors.
What was their goal? What was their end goal?
Well, I mean, that's, again, I didn't sit with them, but I think their end goal was to have a successor for Helena Blavatsky.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this spiritual walk is kind of like the corporate walk. So when we have times of trouble, the easiest solution is a spiritual solution.
Okay, so that's Krishnamurti. And by the way, you had me watch a video you sent me more than a year ago with Krishnamurti and one other fellow. Who was it? They were on TV. It was like 1968 or 70.
Well,
It was another heavy hitter, and they were somewhat at odds. Who was that?
oh, yeah. It was an American guy, right? Like a British journalist?
No, he was another
Indian guy?
spiritual guy.
I'll have to think of
Anyway,
it.
so getting back to the...
So Krishnamurti is like, he's along the lines of an Alan Watts,
Okay.
right? And a Ram Dass, in a way. Like these
Oh, it was
guys.
Ram Dass.
Yeah.
It was Ram Dass.
Yeah.
So have you read the autobiography of a yogi?
I probably have 3 copies of it, and the answer is no. I
Okay.
have started it many times.
Right.
But then it kind of just reminds me of a lot of what I already know, and then I'm like, I'll read it one day.
Okay.
So no, I haven't.
I'm no judgment here. I don't know. I mean, it's the first thing I ever heard of it was the other day.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
I mean,
that's
that
so
makes me
surprising.
sound very unenlightened, but it's never crossed my
No.
my desk, so to speak, right?
But that's okay. I mean, so when we talk about these things, my dad was very, very aware of all of the spiritual leaders in India.
Right, yeah.
And my mom was not. Okay, so my mom, because she was a woman in India, they weren't really exposed to this kind of knowledge, which I call...
Really? Okay.
No, they kept it with the men.
It's funny, all the yoga is like it's all ladies now.
And now it's all ladies. Well, everything is kind of turning, right? To
Yeah.
make it all... But yes, the knowledge was
No,
saved.
no offense to the men doing yoga, okay, but
Not at
all I
all.
see is a bunch of women carrying yoga pads around town, everywhere.
Well, because all the women who were, abused in the yoga centers were like, we're going to go do this on our own. So now they're the spiritual leaders. And I don't know if they learned anything or if they're just repeating the abuse that they endured.
I don't know.
I mean, row your boat.
Well, I think this leads us into our other subject on our list today is new spiritual leaders replacing corporate leaders. So what do you mean by that?
So,
I mean, it's an interesting statement for sure.
Yeah, well, I think, again, that's why I think it's important that we were talking about Autobiography of a Yogi, which you didn't know what it is, but trust me, it's going to start making its way back into the mainstream.
Okay.
Because there's a whole new crop, a generation of people who can actually buy that book, learn it, and it'll become the new Bible, in a way.
Right.
But going to the corporate spiritual thing, and this is just my opinion from what I've observed, we've just spent a couple of decades worshiping the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah.
Like worshiping.
Yeah. It's going to take 5 years of AI CEO scumbags to erase that worship. These guys are sociopathic menaces. That's all I can say about the AI CEOs. They are creepy as hell.
Yep.
They
All of them.
That Sam, or is it Sam Altman? He just makes me wince when I hear him talk on TV. Ugh.
I know.
It's just too much.
I mean, how can his PR agency keep up with him?
I don't think they can.
I don't either.
I just think they are just like, what do we do? I mean,
Right.
This guy's unmanageable.
Yeah. So, but even before the tech guys came in, right, it was the finance guys. It was the the business people, who Lee Iacocca, he was up there,
Yeah.
right? We worshiped the presidents and CEOs of companies. And now that we're coming to an end of like that corporate raid in a cycle, a lot of CEOs have stepped down, so they're putting new ones in their place. It's going to take a while for that. But we're also in this mental health arena, this wellness arena. So the new leaders are the ones who can help us achieve work-life balance, who can help us understand our neuro-linguistic brains. Now we're studying the body and the human technology to such a degree, and people are like, yeah, that's why I feel foggy. That's why I feel burnout. That's why I feel this. So they're searching, and they're getting it. They're getting this whole array of new spiritual leaders, which I think are just the replacement for corporate leaders right now. So it continues we were in $1 billion money machine, and now we're in $1 trillion money machine. I don't know how many of them are really, I don't know how you can really train 1,000 people who are all different on similar concepts.
It sounds implausible to me.
It is, because we all are different.
Yeah, there is no one way. I mean, and that's just, and it's groupthink too.
It goes back to groupthink, because if you don't have groupthink, you can't steer the herd.
No, you can't. But, so was there a standout example of someone in the spiritual realm that you think is starting to really have impact? Is that where the subject came from?
I think there's a bunch of them out there, okay? So, and I don't even want to name names right now, because I think this is, for me, it's almost like talking about, what happened to my sister back in 1991, and you told me not to use the word, so we'll just say unalive. But for such a long time, talking about that way of passing was just too much.
Yeah.
Right? And so now people are literally losing their jobs. They might not have control of their financial future. Their kids are suffering from mental health issues. Their marriages are breaking up. Their friendships are breaking up. Pick a lane. Right? So they go to a retreat or they're taking a workshop, and they might, for the first time, feel different. Okay? They might feel better.
Empowered?
Maybe, because empowered to get control of their own health.
I think there's a lot of people who are waking up to the fact that they were lied to. Mm-hmm. And the lie started with... it was, back when American institutions of higher learning, so to speak, were encouraging, college degrees for everyone. And then in the UK, when Tony Blair said 50% of all people should have college degrees or higher. And now we find out that college is not what it was supposed to be. It is not getting people jobs. It is lost. Like for me, when I went to college, I was an English major. Okay, I had a good, my family wanted me to have a good foundation within the arts, basically, and that was the key point, the baseline you needed to succeed in life. Being able to speak, being able to talk, being able to be continuously educated for the rest of your life. And that now, when you college advisors tell you, oh, you should be an engineer, or you should be a business major, or you should be in marketing. My daughter was in marketing. She graduated and she got a job in marketing. God bless her. I mean, my God, I'm so proud of her. But there are so many people who do these degrees and don't get anything in terms of gainful employment out of it. I think it's a lie. I think our children have been lied to. The society has been lied to about what's important. Thank God we have people like Mike Rowe, the host of Dirty Jobs, who now has this foundation about getting people into the trades. And for those of you listening who don't know, I was in the trades for almost 32 years. And I mean, it's another story, but that's what I did. I wasn't always on the ground. I was an executive with my own company, but we were trade-based, right? And it was always a good job. And the people we had, not one of them had a college degree. Okay? Nobody.
Right.
And so it was a bunch of people who learned, perfected, and then refined their skills constantly. As much as a doctor or a lawyer or a psychotherapist does that, we had guys who could problem solve in the field. We paid them well, and they could do things. And this whole thing, which Mike Rowe says is the thing, you should be a plumber. You could be a building framer. You should be an electrician. There's so many things you can do other than go to college. So the lie is one that is in the greater framework of society, and it's not just here. This contagion has gone everywhere.
Well, right, and we know that and I'm I don't know who's listening always to this podcast, but again, people who went to college and paid for their kids to go to college don't want to hear that they were lied to, because that automatically assumes that you made a bad decision. But the thing is everybody has been hoodwinked. All of us. I mean, I went to college too, but something felt off to me about the path that I was being led on. So I just went off that path.
And oddly enough, your child and my child both went to the same university, which we paid for. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just reality of that.
Right.
So,
well, I didn't pay for my kids' college.
Well, you're lucky.
Because I said, I don't want this time. I don't think college is going to actually help you. I think actually learning some skills, take a year off, 2 years off. I was very vocal about that at Marin Academy, about how I feel like we're in a time where we need to kind of hit the pause button and look at some other options.
Well, my grandfather went to a very prestigious Ivy League college, and he wanted to go on to architecture school. Mm-hmm. They would not let him. And they said, you can go. You have to go get at least a year of doing something. Mm-hmm. And this is, by the way, it's Harvard, which does not have the greatest rep now at this point. But back in the day, this is the early 1930s, they said, you need to go get some experience, kid. You have an undergraduate degree. Go get some experience and then come back. If you still want to do that, great, right? Mm-hmm. He did. He went back, got an architectural degree, and went on to MIT to further his studies. And he was an architect his whole career. Mm-hmm. But that being said, that's a very practical application. And also Harvard was like $32 a year back then. Right.
I mean, everything was different. And that, I think, we should do a map of some sort and just show, just the cost rising, the demographic has changed. What are these kids doing? I'm sure there are studies, Latham, because...
they're not releasing those studies.
Well, when my son was at Marin Academy, the head counselor of college admissions, the one helping all the kids, he did sit us down. There was a meeting, and he basically showed how the percentage of kids coming from this private high school was lowering in the terms of the admittance into these Ivy League schools. And when I looked around the room and saw everybody's face go, wait a minute, the only reason we're here is so our kid has a better leg up to go there.
So I've told you this before, but my cousin was a statistician. I mean, I can't say it because he's just about to retire, so I don't want to get him in trouble. Mm-hmm. But a very prestigious university, a very large university, well known in Southern California, mm-hmm. and he was the head statistician in the admissions department. Mm-hmm. So I queried him one day and I said, hey, who has the better chance to get into your school based on your data? Mm-hmm. Is it the person who goes to a private high school, does incredibly well, 4.0, does sports, is in clubs and that kind of thing? Or is it the young Hispanic, Black, Asian kid who goes to a public university, white kids too, I asked him, because it had changed the admission thing. And it said, but they do really, really well, but they have a much broader base in terms of socialization. And they also do sports and things. Who has the better chance if they're equal? Mm-hmm. And he goes, hands down, the person in the public high school. Mm-hmm. Hands down. Mm-hmm. Especially if they're in a disenfranchised area like Compton mm-hmm. or some low-down area in San Francisco or especially out in the valley, mm-hmm. from Sacramento down to Fresno. that was stunning to me. He goes, oh no, we look at all these things now. They're not just grades. We want to know where they came from,
Right.
what the diversity of their population in their city is. Are they farming community? Because they want to get this very rounded group of people.
Well, they're curating their student body. And so it's not, we've talked about meritocracy so many times that, if we just don't live in that world right now, and we're not going to make it that way.
No.
Okay. So a lot of things have changed. And so, this whole thing, just moving back to the spiritual thing, if corporate's taking a back seat, I mean, people are getting laid off. They're gone. People don't know what's going on in these empty buildings downtown San Francisco or anywhere else. They're all going to retreats. Do you know, after we did that, the doctor has retired episode, I got tons and tons of questions. And I think we are going to have to do a follow-up so you can see all the questions. The phone went off the hook. And it wasn't people saying, oh, Sarita, we're so glad you did this. They were actually calling me for advice.
Right after you told them you retired?
Right after I said I retired.
Oh, my God.
So I'm just like, what did I say that wasn't clear?
So more people hit you up.
And I did a test on one person, and I said, what do you think about paying me like $30 for the advice I just gave you? That would have, probably taken you a couple of therapy sessions to get through.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I think that's a good idea. I said, now, 30, I'm worth a lot more than $30. I'm just throwing this number out there. And, to see if we can do a reciprocation thing. And she was like, okay. So I sent a Venmo request. It got declined.
Oh, my God.
Okay. So I sat there and I was like,
well,
wow.
Who cares about the money? It
Well,
wasn't.
it wasn't about the money.
It wasn't about the $30. My God.
That's why I use numbers like this to test people.
So that is funny and kind of sad.
But
at the same time.
But at the same time, she'll go to a remote viewing retreat class
on Zoom.
On Zoom after they got back from the Yoga Kundalini retreat in Bali, which was, crisscrossing with this wellness spa retreat that one of the other friends just started because she bought 25 acres.
Don't forget the sea turtles. They're feeding sea turtles too for enlightenment.
I mean, and the food, the lodging, the events around.
It's $500 a day.
At least.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't include airfare.
And again, this isn't about the price. It's just that it's another activity. So people have gone from corporate training seminars. Remember when people were flying all over the place for sales conventions and this speech and
TED Talks.
And now it's moved over. Like literally you could parallel it exactly to the spiritual.
Okay, let's talk about TED Talks for 1 second because I got to blow the lid off this one too. So for those of you who don't know, and thankfully Sarita has educated me on this, TED Talks are a pay-to-play thing. They're not organic. They're not just coming to the TED organization coming to you and saying, we need you on this thing. They're hitting you up for 10 grand or more.
Or more.
So you can talk. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Take it with a grain of salt every time you hear a TED Talk.
Well, and you can Google it. Just Google it and say, does TED really charge you to talk? And they'll go, and you can sign up for their newsletter and they will walk you through everything. But, go to TED Talks 10 years ago. The people who were making their rounds on the TED Talks, they could afford to pay big bucks.
Oh,
and
sure.
they did because they became sort of the front line of finance experts,
right?
Science experts, psychologists. All those.
Okay, so we're going to flip right into our new segment, and that's called Rants, okay? We're going to do this every week from now on because Sarita and I both rant a lot to each other. So it's better that we rant to the spatial expanse than just to us, so we need other people to hear it. My rant is going out to 18-year-olds to 35-year-olds, okay? Stop paying for food delivery. Stop. It's idiotic. Get your tennis shoes on, Go out the front door of your apartment in San Francisco, New York, or where the hell you live, and go give a local restaurant your business and sit down and talk to somebody. Don't talk on your phone. Just talk to the proprietor. Say hello to the waiter. Give that waiter a tip instead of giving the Uber Eats driver 20% and then the service 20% on top of your burrito that costs $14. So now you're looking at a burrito that is close to $22 because you're so goddamn lazy. Get off your ass, go see what's out there, talk to people, and spend your money in an establishment. Then take the money you saved and buy a freaking house or a car or go to Coachella. I don't care. But stop spending money on these services. It's preposterous. It is preposterous. And I don't know. I think it's better you hear it now than later, because in 10 years you're going to look back on it and go, I could have had a vacation home in the south of Italy.
Well, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Good rant. But they're not going to have homes. Like, their life is not going to be like our American dream.
No,
Okay.
but I mean,
they
stop
can
giving other people money. Stop giving the tech bros money, for God's sake.
100% I agree. And what's going to happen in 2 weeks when it's a Waymo driver dropping off the DoorDash? You don't even know where the food really came from.
Well, there's nobody in a Waymo.
There's
a
nobody
ghost.
in a Waymo.
It's a ghost. A ghost brought your food.
Right. So it's another thing where people are getting desensitized from, they don't even know where their food comes from.
It's just.
I mean, your kid sees you cook. My kid saw his dad cook. He saw me cook. Once in a while we had DoorDash, but it was like, nuh-uh.
Right.
No.
It just it's not just DoorDash though. It's Ubers. It's Lyft. It is all these services that have just tacked onto you, where you're just paying for a super convenient thing. It's just like, get busy out there. Start doing some stuff. Anyway, that's my rant over. Do you have a rant you want to do today?
No, let's end it with that one. But I
Okay.
do want to say, convenience is really the biggest disease that we have right now, and the less we know how to do ourselves, we're wasting our life force.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with knowing how to do things, and then having something be convenient once in a while is great. But now it's not once in a while. Convenience is the norm.
So on the anti-rant thing, I'm going to say a shout out of one thing that we're part of, because we do YouTube, and I do YouTube on my other channel, is YouTube has changed the face of research about when you need to do something. Like, you want to refinish a table, it's made out of oak. There's 250,000 people on YouTube who's going to show you how to do it. It's great. It's amazing. When I go to work on my car, and yes, I do work on my own car, if I don't know how to do something, I'll go to YouTube. There's 10 people who've done it before me and walk me right through it, rather than me ending up with bloody knuckles and swearing at my wife and throwing things, right? It's amazing. I love that, so that's my anti-rant. Let's talk about that subject we were going into this week, because it's kind of an interesting fine line.
Okay.
And that's hoarders
Oh, yeah.
versus collectors, and that fine line. And it came up, I don't know, how did it come up this week when we were talking about, people who think they're preserving things for the future, but they're really just hoarding. And then there's the people who are true collectors, who realize they're the custodian of an object or subject matter or book collection or whatever it is. And that custodial role is so important for the future, where the hoarding thing has all the aspects of the other one, but with no positive things for the future.
Yeah. So we were talking about that because I have a lot of things.
You do.
Okay.
You have less things now, but
I do. I'm always having less things, but I do have a lot of things. And I always say to people, well, I have a lot of things because I was going to go through them. I didn't have time at the time. So one storage unit ended up just kind of like being there forever. But I also moved a lot, right? So every time I moved, my houses were different, and I didn't want to go buy new furniture. So I'd go in there and I'd be like, that works, move things around. So it kind of came in handy that I kept a lot of things. But that's how we started talking about it, because now I don't really need all these things. And they're ready to go off to somebody who actually knows how to curate them, store them. I'm done with them. I read all the books. They actually helped me navigate the last 10 years, knowing what our true history of the world is.
Right.
I never read so much in my life, books that I never would have picked up. But now I'm done with it.
Yeah, and we talked about how it was my viewing habits that I've learned a lot about English manor homes and castles that people take over or inherit, and how they all almost universally, because it's so expensive to run these things. I don't care how rich you are.
Right.
It's hard to keep up a castle.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be a billionaire and lose it all trying to keep up a castle. And how they, they refer to themselves as, I'm just the custodian. I might be the 11th Earl of Marlborough, but there's a 12th coming. And I've got to make sure what I do to maintain this place goes on to the next guy to continue my work. It's very inspiring, actually.
Well, it is, and that's really how it was, back then, and I know it exists right now, and museums are taking up a big chunk of that role, which is not always great because, right? Okay. So, but going back to the hoarder thing, I think that also is a condition of, times where people really suffered economically. And so that act of what if I don't have it when I need it is a real psychological impairment.
I think there's some other psychological things there too, and it's like you perhaps had your father or mother who you loved dearly had a detachment to reading, for instance, or they liked reading the paper every day. Well, they died tragically, and so you all of a sudden start collecting newspapers, and it's very common. They'll go into people's homes and find years and years and years of stacks of newspapers. And it's like because they have an attachment to them, and they also have the attachment to them, which you do too in a kind of way because you value the information in those books. But you've separated yourself from that now because you've done it. You've read them. These people don't. They want to keep the information. Like it's a crime to erase it. I can understand it too.
Well, I do too.
Yeah.
And that's why, we're talking about this, and just like our last episode when people emailed me lots of questions, that was helpful for both of us because I had a feeling people wanted to talk about things, but they don't want to be public about their questions. They're a little embarrassed.
Right.
So with this hoarding thing and stewardship, I think look at how many thrift this, thrift that.
My sister-in-law has 2 thrift stores. She's doing well.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. And I think that's the one really good positive about the generation our kids are in, is they are really gravitating towards the reuse. And I think what's funny is that their efforts from like Zara, the big corporation Zara, and what's the other one from Japan? Uniqlo, all these fast fashion things, they kind of killed the golden goose because people started looking and go, well, I wore that once, cost $14, and it's just going to go in the waste heap. I mean, and so good quality clothes, people respect that.
Yeah, because it does last a whole heck of a long time.
You pay for a good garment, you're going to have a lifetime.
Right. And so even if you take, a wealthier, traveled person from, say, 50 years ago, they may have had a lot of things, but they were all high quality.
All of them.
Right, all of them.
Including their luggage.
including their luggage. So they weren't buying all the time. Now we're in the fast fashion consumerism, and we're kind of like reversing it, because if people don't have the money, it's like the DoorDash thing. So what do? And, it's interesting that it's happening at the same time that the big luxury houses are having not great sales results.
No. Did I ever tell you a story about what my parents got me for graduation from high school? As my other friends were receiving cars and money and things like that, they got me a matched monogram set of Hartman luggage.
Oh my God, of course they did.
But it was like being on Price is Right or something. It was like, great, thanks, Mom, Dad. What are you implying? Move out.
You said monogrammed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't get rid of it to another person's got my goddamn initials on.
That is hilarious.
Anyway, so, it's funny just how these things are hoarding and collecting. I think collecting is so important. Stewardship is important. Being the guardians of certain things that are important in society is very good. Hoarding, on the other hand, is a sign of mental illness, and it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of baggage with hoarding.
There is, and I'm just going to say, I personally don't like it when people have such a vile opinion about anything. So, it's not fair to walk into a hoarder's house. It's unfortunate if you have to clean it out, right? And
yeah, my wife has a cousin who had a hoarder mother. Mm-hmm. And it really ruined the girls. There's more than one girl relationship with the mom. It was really bad.
I'm sure.
But it was something mental, and it's like so you can't be too down on it, because it's like there's something else going on there.
There's always, and I think there's so much going on for so many people that I think it is a really important time to just reserve judgment. We're ranting about this because
I don't think it's a rant. Other people are dealing with it every day.
I know people who live in restoration hardware houses where it's so neat and organized and clean, but there's another mental illness that's going on with those people who want nothing.
Are they all 7 foot tall and love gray? That's the restoration hardware.
I mean, it's like, I had that client in downtown San Francisco who had like a lacquer white house on the inside.
Oh, God.
I mean, I felt like I was in an insane asylum, a very nice insane asylum.
Like everything was just white lacquer?
White lacquer.
That's a lot.
Even there were no pulls on the doors. Like you hit it, right? And then the drawer would open, or the cabinet would open.
Right.
But then what would happen is it would leave a fingerprint. And so there would be somebody right there, like, did you wipe the fingerprint off?
Oh, God.
So it's both ends.
That's a weird type of hoarding, too, or control. That's anal retentive control.
I can't have anything in my line of sight. Okay.
That wouldn't work in this environment. We got everything going on in this studio. Lights,
okay,
painting.
but do you see, both of them are extreme because they compromise your ability to actually live. And when you're showcasing either one, like if you're showcasing a very lean, mean house, it looks good because most people have shit all over the place because they got kids, they're doing stuff, they're not always cleaning up. I always say Architectural Digest homes, they're set up for the photo shoot.
You want to hear something else I heard recently?
Huh.
Architectural Digest, or when you see on YouTube, AD at home. 90% of those homes are for sale. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So a lot of those AD homes are actually going up for sale, or they have been sold, or it's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, that could be something that's trending and happening more.
Yeah.
I know 20 years ago, because I've been to a couple of AD photo shoots, everything is staged and styled and moved. And, you just wonder, but the people don't live like that. That is for the magazine.
It's show.
But it does, people look at that and they think, oh, should I be living like that?
Well, someone told me the other day about photo shoots and how you know that people don't live in the spaces is because you look at the bathrooms and you look at the kitchens, like around the sinks. There's no toilet paper. There's no soap. There's nothing on the counters. It's just stage, right?
Right.
That brings up something I want to talk about, something that we need back in our lives, and that is Sunset Magazine.
Oh, love it.
I know. I did two or three of the Sunset Dream Homes when I was in construction and manufacturing. And it was a great relationship. They're great people to work with. I loved working with Sunset. Didn't exactly bring me a lot of business, but I just loved the process. It was a really fun process to do. And when the last one I did was their headquarters, which was really good before they sold it. What a crime.
I know. See, I'm getting a little sad and nostalgic, but that's okay. I think there's enough that's not working that the powers that be thought was going to work.
Yeah.
And everything that I can see boils down to lack of customer service and quality.
Yeah. Sunset had it all.
Yep.
It was beautiful homes, great gardens, recipes, flower arranging. I mean, if you're some guy and you're just reading Sunset Magazine, you want to learn, I learned about flower arrangement, and how to do it well from Sunset Magazine. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. It was a great magazine. They had, farming techniques, gardening, all sorts of great stuff. It's something like we need to have that kind of stuff back.
Well, I think it's kind of, things are coming back,
I'd like to see it in print again, though.
Yeah, me too.
Is it in print or is it just online now?
I think it's just online now.
Yeah.
But, I was just at the Civic Center the other day, Marin County Civic Center, which is a Frank Lloyd Wright designed.
Which just had the roof repainted. It's brilliant blue. It looks amazing.
It looks amazing.
It does look amazing.
And, in they have this little shop with the original blueprints of the building and
Yes.
a little bit of history. And there was a Sunset magazine in there because, the Frank Lloyd Wright homes were featured in Sunset. Now, we know there's a lot of, talk about Frank Lloyd Wright roofs leaking and all that stuff. I'm not getting into that.
Right.
But it was really all about, how do we live in harmony with the land?
Yeah.
So even if you look at what's happening right now, we did the exact opposite of what people really fought to, dig their heels in.
To get that going, you mean?
To get that appreciation of where you live and how it fits into the land. Okay, it was important that you not take away from either one. You can't build a big house and then just wreck the land. And so if you look at what's happening right now, we've really taken the comfort and the bigness of a home as a priority over the quality and care of the land that it's built on.
Yeah, I've always had a problem with, when you go to refinance your house or something, and you see how much the land is worth and how much the house is worth.
I know.
And it's like, well, in my mind, the land is worth more than the house, even if the house is really badass.
Right.
I mean, because you have to have a location. Now, I'm not talking about some quadrant in Phoenix, Arizona, right, with 200 houses that look the same. But in where we live or other places that are really nice, in terms of scenically, the land is the key to the great setup. Not
the house.
No.
But if you think about it, the assessed value of a house, they're just going to pick up more money on taxes if your structure is worth more.
Well, I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Right.
so-
Obviously, that's the reason they're doing it.
Yeah.
But it's weird to me because living in a nice, you live in a nice, you're in a nice land area. I am too, and it's just the land is what makes the house.
Well, right. And, from everything I know, say all these developers who are coming in and buying houses, right? And they're just tearing them down. And they'll put up something, not so nice now. So we're getting used to that. But if you look at the tax assessment, the developer who buys that land is now taxed lower than the couple who may have owned the house before.
Yeah.
So it is a money game.
Oh, it's
Let's
a
be
money
clear about that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, any other subjects today? I think we've kind of covered our whole list.
That's a good one. But
Yeah.
I'm just going to encourage people to keep calling in writing in, because the questions were really, really funny, heartfelt. And, Latham and I will maybe do another episode where we go through all the questions that people asked.
Well, I want to do that. I want to do a whole episode soon about that, because I love the fact that people started calling you after you told them not to call you anymore. That is hilarious to me.
But I was also glad, right? I mean,
Yeah.
What was I going to do? Charge my friends?
Well, it's $30.
Well, that one was just very telling.
Oh my God! Especially after she said yes. Just pay the $30 and just shut up. I mean, whatever.
I mean, $30, right? That's less expensive than a DoorDash trip.
A lot less expensive. I mean, come on. Well, anyway,
She didn't want me to have the money. That was it.
that's it.
Yep.
Well, from the Essex Hotel, we are happy to have you back this week. Probably have a couple episodes, just Sarita and I, so we get back in the swing. And we are always looking for guests here on the show. If you have an interesting career, like our friend Arnie Frager from the Plant Recording Studio, or anyone else for that matter, or our Mary Tamburo, we'd love to talk to you and get your story out, especially as people get older. Their stories are fading away, and we like hearing good stories, and I know you do too, out there in the ether. So until next week, I'm Latham Woodward, and this is Sarita Patel saying bye-bye. We'll see you then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Talks from the Essex Hotel. We strive to bring you interesting and different guests every week. Please like and subscribe to hear more content from Talks from the Essex Hotel. Until next time, see you then.